Good evening, I'm Natalie and today we're going to be looking at HTV and hopefully you can hear me all right. So don't forget to say hi in the comments and let me know you're watching and if you can hear and see everything okay. So we're starting off in the downloaded version of CanvasWorkspace, so the desktop one as I refer to it. And we're going to be working with, to start with, a vinyl design that comes with the vinyl auto blade. If you are a CM user, everything I say is going to apply to you, just you're going to do a few things slightly differently. So I'll just wait for a few more people to join so I don't dive in too quick. Hope you've had a good few weeks. So this is kind of our first public live since we've kind of come back. So it would be great to catch up with you all. So when we're working with our premium designs, we're going to be working with this panel here and this one in particular, which is our vinyl auto blade designs. And there are quite a few in the kit that we can choose from. And for today, I'm going to go for one that is going to look really complex, but I want to kind of show you how we can work with complicated outlines. So I'm going to click on the shape and I'm going to drag it across and onto the mat and let go. That's going to pop it in at its initial scale. Now, with the designs that you find in the vinyl auto blade kit, they have a grid on them, and for our purposes today we don't need it, so let's just delete. We also have, oh, let me just delete that one as well. No, don't need that either. And I'm going to take out my one layer here. So if I reveal it again, if you look in the center here, we have a bit of extra detail, but just as a design choice, I'm going to take that out of the way. So we have our lovely peacock, or phoenix, depending on how you want to do it. Is a peacock officially, and we can then send that to cut and away we go. But let's show you a few little tips and tricks. So I'm going to select my peacock layer, and first of all let's ungroup it. So I'm just going to right click and ungroup. I'm going to select just that peacock layer. I'm going to go to edit, down to offset, outwards, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and say 10 mil. So that's going to give me a 1 centimeter border around the outside of our design. We're going to go round because that gives us a nice smooth outline. We're going to leave the original line as is because we still want to cut that core design. And finally we have create an offset line only around the outer edge, which is exactly what we want to do because we're going to use that as a weeding box. And go OK. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it may take a little bit of time because it's quite a complex design, so it does depend. But fingers crossed we should have an outline that pops up shortly. So while we're waiting, have you got any HTV questions that you would like to ask? And there we go, we have our weeding line. Okay, so we can see it just goes over the edge here and just over our red outline at the top as well. So I'm just going to, for now, just kind of tweak that up a little bit because I'm going to be working with some HTV that isn't full 12 by 12. So let's just move that across, maybe up a little bit more at that bottom edge. So I'm not pressing and holding shift to do this, it's just literally clicking and dragging that corner point, and that will keep it in proportion. Okay, so once we have that design, we've got two distinct layers. And let's make our lives a little bit easier by actually giving them a name. So you're going to slow click twice. So click once, then click again to activate the text. And then we can go half cut, because we want to half cut that center design. And then we can go full cut for the outside edge. And for that bit that we've kind of hidden away, that can just be deleted. So you should have something that looks like this. Now, when we're working with HTV, what you need to always bear in mind is that we always cut from the back of the vinyl. This is so that it is ready to be applied. We keep the backing sheet on so that it holds everything in place nice and neatly before pressing. So what we're going to want to do is remember to flip your design. This is especially important with text, but if you have a design like this where it is looking in a certain direction, decide which way you want it to look. Now, for Western audiences, typically we want the character to be looking left to right, as in this design here. So to get that onto our t-shirt in that way, we have to flip it. So I'm going to click and drag over the top so everything is selected. I'm going to go to edit, and then up at the top we've got our two flip buttons. So we have horizontal and vertical, and I'm going to go for horizontal, which is going to flip it so it faces the other direction. So if we were to do some text, for instance, let's go for one of our word designs here. We can pop on, let's pick one that is going to be really kind of obvious what we're doing. Let's go for the girl. So you can drag that on, and again, if we flip it, you can see that it's going to mirror that back to front, so that when we press it, it's round the right way. So it's really important to do that, and you can use that same offset trick with that text. Okay, so I'm going to send that to my machine. So just go File, Export Transfer FCM File, and then we can send that via the Wi-Fi with the bottom button, or export it to a USB stick for the top button. So let's go across the Wi-Fi. Now, I haven't updated my machine as yet. If you are having issues with your network, then it is typically a case of just reset it. But if you are having problems, do please reach out. Okay, I'm going to have to wake up my ScanNCut. It's gone off to sleep. So it's going to play up just because it can. It was fine a minute ago. I checked it all and everything, and it's playing up now. Can I have some help? I don't know why it's having an issue. There we go. It was fine earlier when I checked it. No, it's still having issues. I can see it in the camera hub. Please bear with us one moment. Okay, I will do it through that one instead. Let's see if I can get that to sort itself out. Please bear with me a moment. I should have do. Help me out here, computer. Behave. Do. Of course it's going to pop it over there. That'd be useful. Rotate. There we go. It's not the perfect view, but it gets the job done. Okay. Let's see if we can zoom that a little bit in so we can get that a little bit closer.
Something's not working this end.
Oh, that'd be why it's crashed. Okay. Bear with me one moment. Let me flick you back to the screen while we try and fix the issue. And okay. It is not bear with us. Okay, so let's cancel that out there. Now, at the moment, that design is holding in the ether. So anything that we do between now and when we actually export again from Canvas is going to be kind of ignored by the machine, which is good. Because I want to show you another possible trick that we can do. And I'm going to take my full cut layer and I'm going to drop it to the back. I'm going to select the two and I'm going to go, actually we can do remove overlap for this one, so let's do that. Remove overlap, and then we should have something that is going to give us all of the internal shapes as well. So then we can kind of pull that apart and then we can get hold of all the little individual centers of these shapes here to actually do our colouring as well. So there's another tip for you. You can use divide to pull out those centers. Now, hopefully we should be back. May not have to. Right, so let's go that one. Fingers crossed. There we go. And we just need to do that zoom again because it's lost it.
It's quite clear though.
There we go. So let's do that there. So you can see at the top I have the little update available. I'm not doing it just yet until everything is kind of settled down. So let's go to retrieve data and we can go to our cloud. Oh, it's gone again. How are we going to behave? Okay, so we've got our design that we're going to half cut, our outer line that we want to full cut. Now, obviously, to do the half cut versus the full cut, we need to do the half cut first. So we'll do that. Then we will stop, take out the center design and recut that outer line. Now, let's show you what fun HTV we are using, because it is important that you see what we do with this. So let's go to Let's first of all load the mat. Do you want to just move that curtain, please, Ian? There we go. Okay. So with our design on the screen, we're going to go OK. Please select Cut. Then we're going to go into our settings. And our design is quite intricate, so I am going to use the vinyl auto blade. So I'm going to pop that into the holder. I'm going to go down one screen, make sure that the half cut is on. And for the first cut, I do tend to leave it on auto. Then the weeding box we've created ourselves using that offset method. If you haven't done that, then you can use the weeding box function in your machine to add that box automatically for you. What it will do is it will size a rectangle to fit whatever you have on your mat. The weeding box spacing is the space between where it puts the edge of that box and your design. So obviously the larger that amount is, the bigger your box is going to be. The smaller it is, the closer to your design it's going to be. Okay, and we can go OK. Speed wise, it really is kind of depending on design. It is a little quick for it to be on 3, but it's quite an intricate design, so it's kind of necessary for the speed. Otherwise we could be here for a very long time. Okay, and with that, let's start that going. Yeah, I did say 10 minutes when I said to you.
No, you can talk for 10.
I can talk for 10. Oh, you should be having sound. That's weird. We lost sound for a bit, apparently. Which bit did you lose sound for? And I will go back over what I did.
Might be when we were resetting things.
Yeah.
Got up to 20 minutes.
I noticed it gone up to 20 minutes. Sneaky, isn't it? So just going back over, I'm going to try and guess when it was playing up, and I think that was probably when I was looking at doing the design work at the end, when I was saying about using divide. So while that is busy working away in the background, let's just go back to the screen. It doesn't, it just says, yeah, I can add to broadcast or like the comments. So okay, so what I was saying is, if I step back a little bit, is it gonna let me? Come on, undo. So we've got our half cut layer, which is our original design, and our full cut layer, which is our offset kind of weeding box. But we can actually use the offset to create some of a little areas of colour. So this is sometimes a bit easier if I set it up with colours in the actual shape, so you can see what is actually happening. So let's do that quick. Let's put the fill colour in, and I'm going to make that one pink. And I apologise for everybody's eyes because I'm going to make this one yellow, just so that the two contrast nicely. Okay, let's move that over there, and we're going to select those two shapes. We're going to go to edit and down to process overlap. We're going to go remove overlap, or you can use divide. It's either or at this point. So let's remove overlap, and then when I move this one away, you can see what we're left with is our design is now whole, and we can pick up all these little bits if we want to. You just need to break it apart. So there you go. If you want to cut those bits out from a different colour, then you can pop them back in as you press. What I would say is when you're working with small shapes like this, try not to move them so that you can just press them as one sheet rather than trying to press all the individual little sections. Just makes life a little bit easier. But you can have some real fun with actually pulling apart these designs and doing different areas in different colours. Are there any other vinyl questions that you might like to ask? Hopefully the sound's okay now. So we have about 15 minutes left to go. Do you want to just pass me book 1 in? And I'll just have a quick flip through so I can find the page reference. Fabric. There we go. Vinyl. So if you have book 1, you want to be looking at the pages 218 to 223, and that kind of goes into a little bit of a kind of overview of HTV, the different types that you can get. So I'm working at the moment with Glitter HTV, which is a fun one to use. We nearly ended up doing flocking instead, which is quite fun. So that's where it's still HTV, but it actually has like a fluffy surface to it. And as materials get more and more advanced, there's some really fun things going, kind of coming onto the market that we can do, like bubble HTV and things like that, which are quite fun to play with. So let me know if you have got book 1, or if you haven't, I'm happy to just pop that on stream so you can see the pages I'm looking at. Actually, let's do that anyway. So let me go. Lost my mouse. There we go. And so there's the pages that we're looking at. So the HTV pages. Then we have a HTV project that says about doing things like different colours. And then we have about pressing. Now the reading and the pressing we're going to get onto more so next week, when we'll actually have a heat press here, and we'll talk about the differences between having a heat press to actually transfer our vinyl and going kind of the bit more common beginner route of actually using an iron and going from there. So I do like my heat press. It makes things a lot easier if you're doing lots of t-shirts and things like that. Okay, so for now, let's pop back to the screen capture while we're waiting. It's better that you have the design on screen than just watching a counter. It was supposed to be 10 minutes. The good news is that when it goes back and does the full cut, then you can just kind of speed that up a little bit. But you only full cut around the outside of your design, and that's mainly so that we're saving on vinyl, so that we're not wasting anything. So if you are finding that your machine is consistently cutting round twice on the vinyl or whatever material you want to use, the best way of avoiding that is to just put your cutter mount in your main settings up one touch, and then that should fix that. It's usually a sign that your blade is starting to get towards that point where it's going to need a replace as well. Any idea why the time has increased? Yep, that's the cut mount. Basically, it doesn't know what material you have on the mat until it starts to cut, and that's when it tends to increase the time. So, need to buy new blades. Any recommendations? Well, I am having a new blade to test very soon, so that I may change where I'm going to say, but in the UK we have a few places where we can get them from now. So you obviously have Highlight Crafts that you can go to, you've got Hobby Maker you can go to, Craft Store Direct are really good to go to. Amazon do have them on occasion, but they can be slightly more expensive than you may be willing to pay for. So just kind of check them out, and also try and make sure that they are, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, official brother ones, because there are starting to be compatible ones coming onto the market, and yeah, that we have a compatible one coming that we're going to be able to test and kind of give our experience on. So yeah, those are kind of the places in the UK. If you have a local brother sewing centre, they do them, and I believe if Facebook adverts are to be believed, that Hobbycraft are getting them in as well. So that would be cool. And sorry to hear, Tracy, that your computer's out of action. Here's the person to speak to about that. So yeah, he's lurking in the comments. Oh, you're only on YouTube, you're not on Facebook. Okay. In terms of if you've got a tablet, you can use CanvasWorkspace online. You just can't use the desktop version.
Don't buy a Chromebook.
Yeah, don't buy a Chromebook. That's a definite no-no. Okay, so the sound went when I was talking about vinyl on the mat, apparently.
Make sure you put it the right way around.
Yeah, make sure you put it the right way around. So it's typically colour side down. If you're not sure, because some it's really difficult to tell, if you get your pokey tool and just kind of pull back really gently from like a corner, so whichever corner you want to pull back from, it is the one that is like really flimsy, that is the side you want to cut, and the clear side is your plastic that you want to put down to your mat. So Some are easier to tell than others, like white HTV is a nightmare to try and work out because it's white both sides. Glitter HTV takes a little bit extra to cut, hence it does the extra go round. Your flocking is reasonably easy to cut actually, because although it looks like it's a lot thicker, the actual amount that it's cutting doesn't really change. It's just that the flocks fits between the material that you're going to transfer your t-shirt and your carrier sheet, so it's kind of sandwiched in the middle. In terms of like your kind of plain colors, what you want to be thinking about is what you're transferring it to in terms of fabric. So if you need it to stretch more, in your books, do you explain how to put words in a half circle? I need to do a vest with Daddy's double on. Okay. So yes, we do. It's in the, I think it's in the Canvas book. So book 2. And basically it's, you set up your half circle first. So just pick one out of basic shapes. And then you're going to do it character by character to actually kind of lay that out, is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is that you have your semicircle, and if you're working in Canvas Desktop, I have to be specific, Canvas Desktop, type your text as normal, then select your text and your semicircle, then you go to text to path, which is in just down here. So underneath your process overlap, you've got a little text button. So actually, while that's doing that, let's really quickly do a little tester, shall we? So I'm going to go basic shapes, so up to our circle and triangle. Let's get our semicircle, like so. I'm going to make it a little bit longer, so I'm just going to stretch just a tidge, not too much. But just thinking, if you want Daddy's double on, that's quite a lot of text, and we want it reasonably big. If you're doing it on a vest as well, let's make that a little bit bigger, because you're going to want it. Now, when we say Daddy's double, is that for like toddler, newborn? Because newborn would probably want to be a little bit smaller.
I don't think that's not very big considering.
Yeah. So let's then get our text tool. So we're going to click once and go to Daddy's double. And right, text in HTV. Let's choose something that's going to be quite bold and black. So things like your antique Oakland, which is like the default. Your Arial Black's another good one. Basically, if it looks good and strong and black, let's go for that one, then it is going to come out really well. Oh, 7 weeks old. Oh, bless. I think that might need to be a little bit smaller. So what are we on? I'm about 5 inches wide.
That's not that big. Your baby's bigger than 5 inches wide. You're all right.
So we're going to select our text, select our shape, and we're going to go fit to path, and it's going to pop it onto that shape. Now at the moment our starting point is right where we need it to be at the beginning of that line, but our text is sized such that actually it's dropping off the end here, so we need to do a little bit of fiddling with that. So I'm just going to step back 1 second. Let's make that a little bit smaller.
Make the tone bigger.
I could make the tone bigger, but I'm worried that it's not going to fit on newborn. There we go. So with that there, at the moment it's left aligned. So let's change that to center. So, and it's going to be awkward because I've got me semicircle as a whole semicircle, and let's balance that there. There we go. So we just click and drag that across and it's going to move it around that shape. And then when you're happy, job done. Now, if you want to keep it editable, you can do it like that and send it like that. But I'm going to convert that to a shape, and then we can do other funky things with it as we need to. So if we need to weld objects to it. And that's how you do curved text. So you can do that kind of guide method if you're working on a CM or an SDX, actually directly on the machine, and same with Canvas Online. With Canvas Desktop, fit the text to the shape is the better way of doing it, so it's just easier. How are we doing? 1 minute. Okay. So let's have a little look. And before I do anything else in terms of the background, I need a hooky tool. My hooky tool is currently out in the hall, isn't it? I don't think I have a spare one. I might have to go and grab it. No, that's okay. Okay. So, let me move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Maybe, if it'll let me. Do you fancy being cameraman for a second? I can't quite get it where I want to. Yeah, I was going to say, it might be easier to go manually and let me change view. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to use my reading box and try and lift a section. Now, so long as it is lifting away cleanly, like so, then we should be good to go. Okay, so I'm going to pop that back down. And then we can go back to the machine, go OK. I'm going to go back, edit, use the arrow key to select the center shape, and we can delete it and OK. So we just got our outside shape. We're going to go OK, OK. I'm going to go to cut, into settings, down one screen, turn half cut off, OK. And now we can start that cut. Now it's really important that we don't actually unload the mat between the two steps, just so that we don't accidentally move anything. And that's also why we use the two arrow keys to change between the shapes, so we're not accidentally nudging. Plus my poor vinyl blade, I think it's on its way out because it's doubled that one as well. Now, another top tip would be if you're working with black HTV, tend to have a black backing too. So work on a light box and that can help you read your design a lot easier. Basically where your lines actually cut, it will let the light through so you can see where the actual cut lines are. You can say the same for a lot of dark colours and metallics. Okay, let's see if that's cut through. It has. Hey! So we can peel off the excess like so, and we can use that for something else. The joys of having the scanner on the ScanNCut is that we can use all our little offcuts so that nothing gets wasted, and then we can peel away our design ready for weeding. Now just double check and triple check. Let's get our little bit of an offset. Come on, lifty, lifty, lifty. Don't try and do it mid-air. Let's do it this way. There we go. So I'm just gonna pop that down there, and we can start to check that that's peeling away nice and cleanly, like so. There we go. Hopefully without breaking the cut on the other one, but you never know. So let's take that away, and we can weed that away ready for next time. Okay, so all that remains to say is thank you for joining me today, and I will weed this and we'll be back next week to look at pressing it. Thank you for joining me and spending some time. Take care, and I will see you then. So probably about the same time next week. I will put up a confirmation of the time closest to the date. So thank you for now, and let me just go back onto the desk just so I can go hi. Okay, see you.